Hey guys, so we're just going to continue on with this. We're going to just quickly run through a few new things. There's several things that when you lend functionality to your website, you want to make sure that you've got a couple things going on. You want to make sure that you've got a sort of a consistent look throughout your website. For instance, we have this. I've got this color scheme kind of going on here with like a darker green and a lighter green and a lighter blue, and so that all this stuff kind of works out to a certain extent. I mean, obviously, this is not like a good website by any stretch. This is just kind of displaying how we do create shapes and stuff. But essentially, what we want to do now is we want to create a little navigation bar at the top. Navigation bars are eminently important, and the way that we normally do this is either by creating a list, an ordered list that will have like a vertical display, but in this case I want to have a horizontal display. But before I do anything, I want to go ahead and take away my float left and 25% width for my div. So go ahead and get rid of that in your style tag there, and we'll just have this set back to here. And essentially what I want to do is I want to create a sort of series of buttons I can press up here that will allow me to just click around and just go to the different sections. So let's go ahead and set this up real quick. Let me go to each one of my divs. So I've got section 2 as an ID here. So I'm just going to click on that and Control C and copy that. And I'm going to paste it inside the opening div tag to each one of my sections. So let's put that there. I'll name this section 1, and then I'll go down to section 3 here. And I'll do the same thing with the div. Remember, we're looking at the opening div, not the closing div. It should be apparent. So ID, we'll paste that. And I'll change this to section 3. Right. So once again, that doesn't change anything. If we refresh this, nothing changes. We just lend each one an ID. Up here, I'm going to put in my body here beneath the main title, but before the first div. So outside of the div, before the first div, I'm going to put a button. So just a little tag that says button, pretty simple, and call it section 1, and then close out the button. And so the default button looks like any old button you see, in a website here. You can click on it, it does a little thing, and then what we'll do is we'll just copy and paste that 2 times to give us 3 buttons here. I'll say section 2. Section 3, save that. All right, so we've got our 3 sections there. All right, so the way we want to make this, we want this to have a certain look, right? So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to my style tag. I'm going to style my buttons, right? And so this is where most of the design process comes in when it comes to your buttons. So I've got button as the tag I'm going to use here, and I'm going to give it, say, for instance, border. I'm going to say none. So it's going to take away the border. Background color, I want it to be the same background color as my divs, my 2 divs here. So I'll just say div background color. Copy this little value here. So whatever you had for your background color for your divs, use that as the background color for your buttons. I'm going to change the height to, say, 60 pixels high. You can change that if you'd like. I'm going to change my width to 25%, and I'm going to give it, I'm going to say float left. And this is going to change the way that the divs stack up. It's going to have the sort of div kind of stack up next to you right there. Okay, so there's that. So let's see if we can't separate these 2. So below my buttons, I'm going to put this tag here, BR, which is a break. And I'll do that a couple times. I'll copy that. I'll paste that maybe 2-3 times. Save that. And here we go. Now it's all separated here. All right. So essentially, what we're doing now is we're going to apply some semblance of functionality to this. Before we do that, let me just change the color in my button to white, and also my text size to say 20 pixels. All right, good. Okay, cool. I don't think I did anything. No, text size. Font size. All right, good. Okay, so everything is because it's in the body. The text is Helvetica. If I wanted to change the font size, I could change it to something else. But essentially, what we want to do now is we want to give it some style whenever we float over it. So I'm going to go to button. I'm going to put a colon here. I'm going to have a new line inside my style text. So the curly brace is closed for my button style, and my button, I'm going to say button with a colon hover. And I'll open up the curly bracket, and I'll say background color, and I'll change the color to, say, for instance, the color I used for my section 2 here. and the cursor I'll change to a pointer. Save that, refresh it. Now it lights up here. Nothing happens when I click on it though. Still just a button. As far as the color change, I could add a transition. So let's go ahead and add a transition, and we'll have like 0.5 seconds. So 0.5s is how we determine that it's going to be half a second of transition between the two colors. So now instead of it immediately switching over, it just goes, whoop, it fades in, fades in, fades in like that. Good stuff. All right, so let's go down here to each one of these things, and let's add a anchor point, an anchor tag. The A here essentially determines it's going to be a link, and with the reference, href, right, we're going to just put a little hashtag here and give the ID of the div we're going to go to. So it says go to the section, so it's basically just bring that up to the top, section 1. All right, so I'll just copy this. And I'll just paste A, href, and then I'll close out A. Okay, wait. Make sure I say section 2, section 3, close out the link. Right. Okay, see how that works. Okay, we hover over there. Let's see what happens when I click on section 1. Oh, goes to section 1. Okay. Oh, not quite. Let's see. Yeah, space there. Little details. Sometimes the mistakes can be hard to find, but there you go. Hopefully this is simple enough that we don't have too many problems here. Obviously, if your spelling is bad, then you might have some problems. So, you know, that's why spelling is a good skill to have. All right, so we'll turn this in as an HTML file. Now, whenever you turn it into D2L, it changes the code slightly because we know D2L is just D2L, just D2L in. So I'm going to have a link to a Dropbox you can put it in. So just drop it there instead of the so like put the file into Dropbox and then follow the link there, and you'll get a grade based on that. All right, very cool. See you in class.